This is Kardec Radio for Teens.
And now it's time for real life-changing dilemmas from a Spiritist perspective. The Diary of Alex with your host, Mark Smith.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Diary of Alex. When we last left Alex, you might remember he was very conflicted. His heart was cut in two because, on the one hand, he was trying to escape his family and his emotions by choosing to enlist in the army in Italy in World War II. But as he's in Italy, he realizes something, that he feels like he should be or needs to be by his mother. So this conflict is haunting him as he's going to these battlefields in Italy. And he couldn't sleep. And as we learned earlier, when Alex is feeling emotional and feeling like he doesn't know what to do, he has the habit of turning to alcohol for help. So we see Alex this time wandering aimlessly through the snow in the little town in the mountains outside of the base where he was stationed in Italy. He had been drinking in this little village for hours, and he decided then to go back to his station. But because he was drunk and without noticing it, he fell into a deep hole on the side of the road. Shortly thereafter, he blacked out, and he never woke up again. He was only found 3 days later. The coroner reported that because he was not dressed for the weather, he died from hypothermia. But as we know, from a Spiritist perspective, life never ends. So thanks to the loving kindness of our Father and Creator, Alex as a spirit regained consciousness, and we see him being rescued by kind and loving spirit doctors. We find Alex is now undergoing treatment in a spiritual hospital. And when he awakens, he's invited to reflect upon his choices and face his emotions for the first time regarding his family and his childhood. So next week, we're going to hear another diary from Alex, except this time it's going to be a diary from the spirit world, in which he's going to be talking about his choices, talking about his facing his emotions, talking about his interactions with the spirit nurses and therapists about matters of his heart. You might realize then that we're making a transition now from this world, the earth, to the spirit realm. And reflecting upon that, it's kind of amazing if we really think about it, that God's love is present everywhere. Even when our physical bodies stop functioning, our kind spiritual friends help us make this transition from this life to the life of the Spirit. And we learn that from the Spiritist perspective that the body is just a temporary vest. While it deserves care and respect, and we shouldn't be abusing it with alcohol or cigarettes or drugs, it's not our real self. It's not really a sole representation of who we are. So here's the questions that I'd like to ask us and reflect upon for this week. Are we ready to see ourselves as immortal spirits? What are the consequences of asking ourselves this question? When we see ourselves as immortal spirits, have we learned to look at the opportunities that life offers us? Do we recognize that we see all these opportunities to learn lessons for immortality? By looking at ourselves as immortal spirits, we will realize that these challenges are opportunities, that they're lessons for us. And when we face these challenges, we realize that everything eventually shall pass. When we experience fear, we'll come to realize that we're never alone. Just like Alex, who's trapped in that hole, has these loving spiritual friends coming, watching over us, watching over him. And these loving spiritual friends that both in our lives now and in the spiritual world are constantly watching over and inspiring us. So let's see this transition Alex is experiencing now as a lesson of hope for us, in that we realize that life never ends. Thank you, dear mentors, for reminding us of the value of seeing ourselves as immortal spirits and recognizing that our life never ends. That we are always and always being guided by, being inspired by spiritual, loving spiritual presences in our lives that are directing us towards the right actions if we just listen to them and guide our actions towards them. Thank you for reminding us that within our hearts lies the secrets of immortality, that love is always present among all of us, that we can tap into this beautiful gift that the universe has given us through the power of prayer and through the power of understanding our immortality. Thank you so much for this beautiful gift of this body, and especially for the beautiful gift of the soul that is guiding us in our everyday lives. Thank you so much for the dear mentors who are always inspiring us and guiding us towards the greater purposes of life, that we can be loving, caring, responsible, and dedicated towards finding love and compassion in our lives, which will lead us to true happiness. So be it. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I look forward to sharing with you the Spirit Diaries next of Alex as we move to a new phase of Alex's spiritual journey.
This has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.